Hello there, this is Cookies, and I've got turn 60 of MA Naba. So we got some more gold from Man as part of that agreement. We got our water gems from Asphodel that we did a combination of selling him stuff and trading him, sending him gold and nature gems in exchange for gems he didn't need as much. We empowered this lady in death. This is to help break into death. And we did a fair amount of remote site searching, which doesn't seem to be catching on, and we'll have to see what Vanaru's cast. We also found a Furbolg Fortress. I'll show you that in just a second. That's a free citadel, which is really nice, and it's on one of our blood hunting provinces. Also, suddenly the blood burst from the eyes of my blind pretender, so now I've lost Eyes of God. Somebody specifically spent a bunch of fire to get rid of it. We also found an archaic diagram, so yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the turn. So both of these things are here. So the Furbolg Fortress is here. This is on one of our blood hunting provinces, so we can go ahead and temple and lap this. Additionally, we got an archaic diagram, which is an evocation bonus. And that'll be really nice if somebody ends up trying to invade us and we need to try and bombard their army with remote spells like Flames from the Sky, Murdering Winter, and I think there's two new ones, one for air and one for astral. So this will be great. Love this evocation bonus, but it's just not quite useful until we get a little bit further into the late game. All right, and then we've got one fight between Man and Asphodel, Shade Forest, where it looks like he's dropped a projection on the main army. Let's see what it does. So he's checking the script, and he's dropping meteors. Oh my gosh, it gem burned? Really? That's interesting. I guess that's just enough paths to gem burn. So we see Army of Mist, regrowth. Let's see, how do I scroll up in this? Yep, anti-magic, puppet mastery, creeping doom, power of the spheres, fanaticism, lots of big spells. All right. So we see all this coming out. The Fog Warriors effect in particular is really nice on Asphodel. And sends the projection home, but did burn a fair number of gems and did kill some stuff. Managed to get a Carrion Lord and 8 Sages with one of the meteors. 2 Carrion Bears, a horse, some mannequins, a Mandragora, a Minotaur Warrior, and 2 Sacred Sagittarian Carcasses. So this is a significant loss for Asphodel. Carrion Lords are worth 30-something nature gems, I believe. And just the 8 Sages, I would definitely pay 5 Glamour gems for this projection. So this was well done by Man to put this out there. Additionally, we have our Elfing kicking off on Agartha, and you can see we just did 2 attacks to start things off. So we've got some Janguard. Oh, it looks like I didn't include all the camels. So this is just against 1 PD. Alright. And then we've got the Forest of Pine, where we've got a camel squad. Alright. And then Man has attacked Green Coast, where it looks like he's got some more. He got attacked by trolls. More misfortune events for Man. Alright. And then in Amicton, looks like just a couple of mannequins, and they're getting mind blasted. Yeah, so 2 carrying commanders. Unfortunate to lose those for Asphodel. And Agartha goes ahead and storms. Ooh, we see the earthquakes coming out. Looks like leadership has fallen. And they should be able to clean this up. Alright. So he cleans up this Asphodel force, kills a further 4 mages, and only loses a few things. So he loses 7 Magma Kids, 3 Great Olms, and 1 Attentive Statue. Alright. And Winter has come. Also limits a plague, which is good. We get a big gold event. We get a Bloodthorn, also great. And we get another big gold event. This is perfect going into a war. We'll be able to follow up this push with a fair amount of recruitment, which is good because now we see 2 big Agarthan armies. So we see this stack here that we just saw Storm and Micton. And we see this other stack here in Mountains of Mist with 410 units. It looks like a similar composition. So if we can find something that works for this army, it'll probably work for this army. The only difference for this army is it looks like maybe more mage support. I would assume for 400 units versus 300. But yeah, let's go ahead and dive into the turn. So we're going to go ahead and leave Forest of Pine. We're not going to be able to hold that. But we can dive our raiding parties into Undermountain. So we don't see anything here yet. So we're going to go ahead and get the scouts flowing. And meanwhile, we're going to send a bunch of raiding parties to Undermountain and start trying to get some raiding in. Meanwhile, I'm put in a little bit of a conundrum. So Agartha's got 2 armies. I've only got 1 army. So what that means is this army needs to be destroyed because it could attack Asphodel, but it's also fairly likely to come attack me. And if it attacks like this way through Bay Pond and Hubbardton, if I run up to fight in Forest of Pine, it's going to be hard for me to get back to Hubbardton in time to defend Hubbardton. I definitely don't want this army getting into my backlines and messing with my blood economy. And I also don't want it messing with the production from this fort either. So we're in a little bit of a conundrum where I want to do more raiding and start advancing, but now this army is kind of in our backlines in a weird way, and it's in a spot where we can't really get to it. So I'm going to need to be a little bit reactive, which I don't like doing when I've just started a war, because I need to be able to react to either of these armies. This army could go and fight Asphodel, or probably fairly likely it'll start coming down through Forest of Pine and Scrap Point, and this army in Amicton, honestly, it's got enough amphibious stuff that it could even cross into Sanguine Swamp, so you see me moving some stuff out of there. And I might need to be able to respond because Banderlog's trapped between these mountains. So Hubbardton is the choke point, so to speak, for this area. It can respond to anything, any one of these 3 kind of like lanes that I can get attacked from. So I can get attacked through the Scrap Point lane, the Banderlog lane, or the Bay Pond lane. Hubbardton can respond to all of that. But if I launch out to any of these, I won't be able to support, say if I go to Scrap Point, I can't support Banderlog or Bay Pond. I'd have to first go back to Hubbardton and then go to Banderlog or Bay Pond. So we're going to go ahead and stay here and play a little bit more reactive. I definitely can't run up to Forest of Pine and go pick a fight there. We'll have to see what Agartha's done or plans to do. And so in some ways, right on the first turn of the war, Agartha's stolen a fair amount of initiative from us. Because now we're going to have to plan around what their two armies end up doing. So we're going to have to play somewhat reactively. But if we play that well, maybe we can go into offensive actions again. So that's what we're doing here. We're continuing to gather in Bay Pond. We're at about 200 troops. But we've got a fair number, 20 here and another 50 here. So maybe 70 are out raiding. And we've also got some in Bandarlog, another 50 or so troops. So we've got maybe a little over 300 troops available to us in the area to fight off over 700, which means we're going to have to use our research lead over Agartha to try and make up the difference. So you can see here, Agartha's down here. We're up in this grouping. So there's Ulm. There's the grouping of the players that I would probably consider in the top 3 right now. I'd probably put myself, Zan, and False God in this top band. And I think Ulm's just a little bit too small, but they do have a cool necromancer into Tartarian play that they can do. And then we have the band down here with Asphodel, Agartha, Man, and Abyssia. So we'll have to figure that out. And then with army size, we can see that we do have an advantage over Agartha. It's just a lot of ours is Blood Patrol chaff. So in terms of quality stuff, Agartha's actually probably got the lead over us. But that research lead is what we're hoping will save us. And you can see we're starting to move up in gem economy as well. So really starting to sling up. Although a good portion of that could be event income. All right. So that's that sort of consideration with Agartha. We need to figure out how to defeat these two armies before we can start trying to advance into the caves. And other than that, we're continuing to scale the blood economy, but we're also making a fair number of items. So we're making some lifelong protections finally, some flesh eaters, and some other gear. We're also starting to move some more mages into position to get a little bit closer. You can see some of this gear building up for various thugs that we might need to build. So yeah, I think we're in an okay spot. But we'll just have to see what these Agarthan armies do. So I think that's most of it for this turn. Oh, and I go ahead and I think that's most of it, but I'm also doing another trade with Asphodel, so I'm going to sell them some gear, including the Admiral's Sword, over to Asphodel for a fairly nominal price, and that's just to kind of get some more gem income that I need, but also to kind of build up that friendship with Asphodel in Distant Horizon, because it could be important later in the game. So we might end up needing whoever ends up winning this Asphodel Man War, and now they get to have their honorable 1v1. Now that I've somewhat dishonorably elfed Agartha out of the picture. So whoever ends up winning that 1v1 could very well end up being pretty important when presumably Zan goes to try and win the game. And that'll probably be predicated on him and Pyrene fighting a war, because he's going to have to invade Pyrene to get those thrones, I would think, unless his plan is to take the Abyssia Agartha thrones and then come over here. Although these are the Ulmish thrones. So yeah, I think because, let's see, he's got 2, so he needs 5 more. So if I come down here and I'm working on killing Agartha, I'm going to want the Iron Throne, which is down here. which means he's probably going to have to fight me at some point and take even this throne. Because if he takes the 2 from Abyssia, he'll be at 4. Then he needs 1 from me to get to 5. And then he'll need the 2 Pyrene thrones to get to 7 and win the game. So that's probably his plan. He's probably planning. And I think it'll be a fun war, assuming we get to it, where it'll probably be False God and I versus Zan in a 2v1. Zan will be massive. It should be a lot of fun. It should be a fun war. And I'm assuming that Zan will be able to call on Ulm as an ally, because Ulm is a natural ally for Vanarus right now. And what I'm hoping for is getting either Man or Asphodel on side, who either keeping them busy in their 1v1 or getting one of them on side to help fight Vanarus in the late game. And part of me kind of wants Asphodel to win, just because I don't know, like I want to see what an Asphodel late game looks like. I'm not sure if I've ever really seen an Asphodel late game. They always seem to get killed or rushed down, at least in Dom 5. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what it looks like. And I think it would be really neat. But also seeing a late game man would also be pretty cool. I just think it would be a little more generic human stuff, a more normal late game. They just have the really strong knights as well. I mean, they'll still be relevant. It'll just be more late game magic. It wouldn't, in all honesty, it wouldn't be that horribly different from like Pyrene or Nabah in terms of late game magic. So I don't know. I'm just like seeing the pop kill undead faction that never makes it to late game make it to late game would be kind of neat. So yeah, let's set them up for their 1v1, and I'll go ahead and go after Agartha, and we'll see how that works out for me. And I believe the global that Vanarus put up was Gates of Horn and Ivory. And yeah. And we got our non-aggression pact with Abyssia. So I think we're all good there. And yeah, I'll see you in turn 61. Have a good one.